Y'all want to know how to do this design, and not only am I going to teach you how to do it, but I'm also going to teach you how to get those perfectly straight 3D lines, how to effortlessly apply the foil, and how to keep your foil designs from lifting and chipping. So let's get into it. So for the base of this design, I used this Nuage Pomely Gel number 4 and this Nuage Mag Brush. If you don't have this gel, they do sell this on Sweetie Nail Supply, and I don't necessarily love Sweetie Nail Supply because they unnecessarily mark up their prices. But the owner of Nuage is a sweetie, and this is a Japanese gel, and it is honestly so top quality, so beautiful. I do 2 coats of this polish. The first one I will demagnetize, and then I do my second coat and I magnetize it, and I like to focus the shiny magnetic part in the center of the nail. The next step is going to be our foil glue. Now, before I apply this, I wipe the inhibition layer from the gel polish, and then I apply this in a very, very thin layer. And not only are we going to do this in a very thin layer, but we're also going to double cure it. So instead of 60 seconds, we're going to cure it for 120 seconds. And that is the magic sauce for getting your foils to stick beautifully. For these designs, I use these flower foils that I got off of Amazon. Something very important to note is that you always want to apply this on the nail with the white side down. Also, please make sure you don't wipe the inhibition layer off of this. Now, I sped this next part up in 1.5 speed, but basically you're going to lay down the foil wherever you want it to sit on the nail. Press into it with your hand. I like to use my hand rather than a tool just because I feel like the warmth of your fingers helps it to stick better. And I start from the center and I work my way out. Make sure you completely press the whole foil down. Go over areas multiple times. And unlike lace foils, you're not going to want to rip this one up too fast. You actually want to rip it up very slowly to not mess up any of the picture. And honestly, I was so amazed with how this came out. Like, the picture came out perfectly. Now, here is my special secret as to how to keep your foil designs from lifting and chipping. I take a lint-free wipe with a little bit of acetone and I wipe the underneath of the nail. I also do this with my chrome powder application. Whenever you take away the foil from the free edge, it gives the base gel something to grip onto to really encapsulate the foil. And then just for some extra security, which I also do with my chrome application, I go in with a base gel. Next, we're going to do our matte top coat, and Kiara Sky is like my favorite matte top coat of all time right now. It's so velvety, it's so smooth, you don't get those weird streaks. Once you have cured the matte layer, then it's time for the 3D line. I love using this multifunction gel from Dime Nails. In my last tutorial for this type of design, I said you can mix this with top coat to give it a thinner consistency, and that tip is mostly for beginners. If you're comfortable with using this gel, you can just go right in with this gel. The only thing is that this consistency is very thick, and sometimes my brush skips down the nail whenever I try to make a line, so I'll have to go over it again just to fill it in, but that's okay because I have an extremely steady hand, which a lot of beginners don't have. For this design, you're going to want to use a very long brush, anywhere from a 21 to a 25 millimeter. Make sure you wiggle it all in the gel and run it through a lot so that your brush is evenly coated. Now, this tip is only if you're working on somebody else or if you're working on press-ons. If you're doing this on yourself, Godspeed, because it's hard. You know how when you go to the nail shop, a lot of nail techs use their pinkies? It's for stabilization. The long brush and the pinky give you stabilization whenever you're doing these types of long strokes. So I stabilize my pinky, and you're gonna go in with very light pressure. That's gonna give you those really thin lines. And at all times, at least a quarter of this brush is gonna be touching the nail. And you just bring it down and follow the line of the brush. Since the brush is so long, you can just follow it all the way through. And the closer you put these lines together, the better the design looks. The more lines, the better. And the last step is to not be so hard on yourself. Do you know how many lines are on this nail? Do you know how hard it is to get all of them perfectly straight? It's very hard, and nobody's gonna be looking at your nails that close. It's beautiful from afar, despite its imperfections. Anyways, I hope these tips helped you out. Let me know down below if they did. It always makes me feel so good whenever y'all use my tips. Okay, bye!